Howdy, and welcome back to my third attempt of Seablock here. Uh, it has been a long time, as I went through many different things, um, but this is my return to Factorio after quite a while away. Um, I didn't really, have much interest in Space Age, so I did not play that, but I didn't realize that Steam had it set to auto update on my Factorio, so um, I basically ended up unable to play C Block uh, for quite a while until I figured out how to back update my Steam Factorio. Um, but in doing so, I lost all my local files for it, so I am starting over once again. Um, So yeah, I should be cutting around a good amount once we get into the meat of the game. But in the beginning here, I'm gonna kind of just start out with some basic stuff for anybody who may be watching C Block for the first time. As far as mods go, I have the official C Block pack, as well as a few quality of life things like the speed up tool down up here. Seeing speed up, speed down, different things like that. Oh, it's not wanting to let me speed up. That's alright. I think there are, keybinds for that. But yeah, besides that, I have a couple other things like recursive blueprints, digital displays, like number plates, that kind of thing. But really not too much else beyond the standard Factorio C block experience. But yeah, for anybody who doesn't know what C block is, we're starting in this middle of this big old ocean, and we gotta get everything we need from there. We kind of start off with some basic stuff, wind turbines as our power, and we can see that we kind of get a basic introduction on how to do things through the quest line here. I'm just going to start off by, making a bit of an island for us, and I am going to try to keep this mostly organized, so I would like to do a little section here, and this is where I'm going to put all of our solar panels. Or not solar panels, oh my gosh. Wind turbines. Alrighty. Yeah, these things are pitiful, by the way, so as soon as we can switch away from these, I will be wanting to, because they produce hardly any power. So yeah, I will be switching from these probably as soon as I get the opportunity. Oh, okay, so 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. Okay, so 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. There we go. Oh no, did I make this one too long? I think I may have. Yep. Alrighty, there we go. So we got some basic power up and going now. And I will start branching out in some of these other directions. Let's go this way. No, actually, I'm going to go straight down. So I want to run into that island over there, just for my planning stuff. Alrighty. So basically, C-Block is a variety of mods that are based on like the Angels mod, and then as well as some of the Bob's mods that essentially somebody figured out that you could, in theory, with a few recipe changes, make it all the way from pulling stuff out of the water to the end game. So that's kind of what it is. I'll kind of show you guys the main sort of stuff that we got going on here. So the first step is crushing stereotype, or getting crushed stereotype, right? Which is kind of that and sapphire, or how we're going to get basically our early game materials. So a couple of the things that we have in this mod are FNEI over here. So what I could look for here is stereotype. Let's see. Did I spell that wrong? Oh no, I didn't. Okay. Let's see if we have to go from iron plate. Yeah, maybe that's what we have to do. There we go. So we can see sapphire here, which we can get in a crusher from sapphire ore, which we can get, here we go, and a crystallizer from mineralized water. And then you have to get mineralized water from crushed stone. And there are different recipes for this stuff, right? So we can see slag into crushed stone. So to start it off, these are going to be some of the most important things in this entire game, the electrolyzer. So we're going to make one of those. We're going to make 2 flare stacks. We're going to need a liquefier. We're going to need a crusher and a crystallizer. And then we're going to need 2 furnaces and a water pump here. But yeah, that's kind of the basics of everything that we'll need to get started. We'll eventually have to scale up, right? But as a baseline, that is not bad. Alrighty, so first things first, we're going to have our offshore pump running, and then we're going to go into our electrolyzer. And from water here, we can turn things into slag and these 2 gases, so hydrogen and oxygen, which we will need later, so I can just power right there. That's nice. There we go. And I am just going to show the tooltips here just for my use. Alrighty. But for the meantime, we can just vent these. So these flare stacks get rid of excess gases. So, okay, I'm going to redo this a little because I don't like kind of how I made things wind up here. My own fault. So let's just go here instead. We'll go like here instead there. And then let's see here. Okay, let's just do this with normal gas. There we go. So now we're producing slag, and what we can do is we can put this into our liquefier, right? And we don't have inserters yet, so oh wait, oops, sorry. We actually go into the crusher first. Yeah, so in the crusher here, we can make crushed stone, and then this will go into the liquefier to make mineralized water. So we're going to need some underground pipes here. And this is sort of just the beginning of things. So once I get basic automation up and going, or sorry, basic logistics up and going, yeah, oh, I'm sorry, wait, okay. Maybe we'll unlock them pretty soon here. Yeah, okay. So once I get basic circuit boards, you know, we'll redo this a little better. But in the meantime, another important thing is that you can just forge for driftwood. So it takes 4 seconds and you get driftwood. So in earlier versions of Seablock, it used to be foraging for algae, but now it's been replaced with wood. I'm not sure why that decision was made, but it was. And yeah. Or, well, I guess it wasn't a change made for Seablock. It was a change made just to the Bob's mod or Angel's mod, which I forget which, you know, incorporates all this stuff. But, yeah. Okay, and I actually lied. We need 2 more crushers here. This is kind of largely, you know, in the early game here, just waiting. So once we kind of get these first ones in, I am going to kind of just do a skip to where we're, you know, having a bit of a bigger setup, just to save you guys time. So, like I said, I'll go through kind of the basic stuff here, and then, yeah, once we kind of go through the whole loop of how to get these sapphire and stereotype, which we do have there now. So now we crush these. Alright. Let's give them some fuel. But yeah, so now we get crushed sapphire and some crushed stone. So you do get some of the crushed stone back that you used to make mineralized water, right there. Alrighty, so now we need to make one basic circuit board to get the logistics up here. And we can see we need copper wire for that. So you can see here we can smelt sapphire and stereotype into copper and into iron, respectively. So stereotype goes to copper, and then sapphire goes into iron. But yeah, that's essentially the loop. And now, let's see here. Let's make some of these furnaces. And yeah, I'll basically smelt that up and then cut back to when I have a little bit of a better setup made for this. Yeah, so I don't know if you saw in the recipe, but you need, oh no, that's not what I wanted to smelt. Oh dang. Okay, well, I got one brick. Yeah, but you need 3, so here we go. Oh, I need to crush it first. Oh my gosh, my brain is all over the place. Yeah, like I said, it's been quite a long time since I played this, so I'm definitely a little rusty on everything. Alrighty, there we go. Just pull those out, put that in. And there we go, we got iron, and we got copper. So yeah, like I said, now that I kind of showed the basic thing, I'm going to take a pause and then jump back to a more filled out setup. Alrighty, I am back. So basically what we have here is 4 electrolyzers. And I'm going to walk through this piecewise so that we can kind of discuss the numbers and why this is why I decided for an early game setup. One thing I will notice is that I have done basic logistics research already. So I did my old setup until I had enough for that. And from there, just use this because I am using some undergrounds and a basic splitter. And I will explain that once I get there. But essentially, we have 4 electrolyzers here. Each of these take 4 seconds to produce 1 slag. So with 4 of these, that means that we have 1 slag per second. And then when we go to our crusher here, you can see that we have a crafting speed of 1, and this, once again, takes 1 slag per second. So, oh, whoops, sorry. I will say this whole thing is powered by me crafting wood, so if I'm ever not crafting wood, this is decreasing, which we don't want. But yes, so we're creating 1 slag per second, which we're then processing into 2 crushed stone per second. We're easily meeting that bottleneck here. Our liquefier is constantly waiting, so essentially what that would mean is that when we scale up, we want to add more electrolyzers and more crushers to keep up with the demand of the liquefier. Similarly, our crystallizer isn't, running behind or anything. Basically, everything past this liquefier isn't running at full capacity, including the liquefier. So the crusher is the last thing running at maximum capacity. From there, like I said, we're crushing things. So I am just feeding this one long wood belt along as my power for all of this, or my fuel for all of this. We'll get access to better fuel soon that I won't actually have to, manually craft and feed in myself, but until then this is not too bad. And then what I'm doing is I'm putting all of the offputs from the crushing onto this belt here, so you can see that we get some crushed sapphire as well as crushed stone. This is where the filter insert comes in. So you can see here I have my sapphire on my right side of my belt here. And that'll get fed around to this furnace. I have my stereotype here, going to this furnace here. I am going to pick up this stuff that dropped, just to put that back in, so hopefully we can, not have it back up there. But yeah, the crushed stone is actually getting fed back into the liquefier here. So in theory, we're raking back some of the crushed stone that we're getting, but it's really not a super significant amount. So it does increase our productivity by quite a bit, but that's just because everything here is so slow. So yeah, this is how we're producing iron and copper, and we're using all of that just for research right now. So yeah, long inserters are pretty good. It'll make things a little cleaner, but I kind of just want to rush towards steam power because our goal here now is to get to basic algae processing. So I'm kind of just going to blitz straight there. So that's a total of 30 science packs I need. I have 2 in there already, so that'll be 26. And as soon as we get more copper, we'll be up to the full amount that we need. So yeah, unfortunately the science packs can only be made in intervals of 4 because that's what it requires over here for the coils, which I don't like. It's kind of annoying to not really have super good control over that in the early game. Kind of just have to make things in, intervals of 4. But yeah. Put that in. So this guy's probably getting low. Yeah. Alright. So yeah, we're waiting for 2 more copper, and then I'll cancel all this wood that I have going here. But until we get that copper, we're not going to be able to finish the research. So I also know it would be faster if I had the research going right now, but to be honest, Seablock is a bit of a grind, so I'm not really stressing the loss of time, considering it'll be a drop in the bucket compared to how much time we'll be spending later. There we go. That back up. Alright. Yeah, in my first 2 times I played this, I easily spent a couple hundred hours in it. In the first one, I didn't use the speed up mod, which I greatly regret. Especially like in times like this where I'm just kind of waiting, it's nice to just, power up. The only thing I have to worry about really is like things that are manually fed, like this fuel going down, but yeah. I definitely recommend that anybody who plays this mod does use the speed up tool because it saves you a lot of time. Just in the early game really is all when you really need it. In the late game, you'll be kind of busy enough, expanding and figuring out new things that, speeding up time isn't really going to help you do anything. The biggest kind of boosts in productivity you're going to get are by expanding. So that was kind of an issue I fell into the first time I played, was saying, well, I have everything automated. If I just wait long enough, I'll be able to, finish the game or whatever. But I'll go into the science menu and show you guys why that's not such a good idea. So, yeah, each of these researches need 200,000 of the sciences. So, as you can imagine, if you don't have, a very well automated system, waiting for 200,000 of all of these different things is gonna take forever. So what is that? 200,000. Let's do the math here. So even if I'm producing 45 a second, yeah, so if I'm producing, actually that's not as bad as I thought. If I'm producing 45 a second, it's only 1 hour and like 15 minutes, but still, producing 45 a second of some of the later sciences is not so easy. And I'll go into kind of explain that once we reach those. There's a lot of things to consider with that it's frustrating for sure. I think I'm actually just going to plop down another lab so that we can be a little faster here. So I will say, you do need to build new labs for each science tier you go up, and they are recursive on themselves, so definitely tricky to deal with. I will show, also, our power, not very good. So right now we're consuming over half of our current, or of our maximum power right now. That's with nothing else, you know, that we're gonna need to build the power. Because, spoiler alert, all the things here that take power, or that we need to make power, sorry, take power as well. So you're basically, you know, gonna have to use some power to make power, which can be really dangerous in the late game. And the reasoning for that is basically, you know, whenever you're producing or using power to produce power, in Factorio, whenever your power goes low, right, all of your machines slow down. So you end up in kind of like a death spiral, pretty much, where you're not producing enough power, so your machines go slower. But your machines are making power, so you're making less power. Until you eventually go down to near zero levels. And that's not fun. You basically kind of have to disconnect things, increase the system if you have enough resources, and then, you know, increase your power bandwidth. So it's definitely something to consider. Alright, there we go. We're getting stuff going. That'll be nice once we can switch to electric ore crushers. I'll be very happy about that. Save us from this wood chain going. It'll just have to go there now. It's not bad at all. But yes, so now that we're kind of researching it, I'll go into... Oh, we actually also want to research this guy. But yeah. Basically, algae is going to be a very important part of this of this series. It's basically just going to be our early game fuel, as well as something that we use for a lot of different things. The different color algae are important. But yeah. Actually don't remember what we use the brown algae for at this phase. If we basically just have to hold off on it, or what. That's kind of where this comes in. So we can see how we do it. Compost. Okay, so currently right now we have no use for brown algae. That's difficult to do. So we're gonna have to think about that. If we have no use for it, like what we're actually gonna do to get rid of it. Yeah, it's definitely something we gotta consider. Okay. Trying to remember now. Brown algae uses. Does it have a burn time? No. Okay, so what that means is we're probably just storing it into a chest until we have a use for it. Man, that's oh, okay, here we go. So if we go to composting, we can get that. So let's see. We have 20 here, 10 here, and 10 here. So that's 40 total that we need. Which means we need to wait until we get that much copper, but we can get 20 going now, and then 20 going later. But yeah, because we got so much starting iron, the copper is kind of going to be the big struggle in the early game here. But yeah, I think I'm going to farm up for some research and resources, and then I will jump back once I'm actually ready to work on the algae stuff with you guys. So see you soon. Alrighty, we are ready to start making algae. I will say I did see that this research was available after just another intermediate of washing 1. And basically this gives us a recipe for green algae that doesn't require us to be making brown algae. So essentially I'm going to be skipping this tier 1 recipe that has the byproduct and just going to this tier 2 recipe here. But yeah, so that's what I'm going to be doing. So it's going to be slightly different. We're going to be making mineralized water, which we already know how to do. And we're going to be making carbon dioxide, which we were able to do in wood processing. So I was already researching this anyways, because essentially with the green algae, you can craft it up, right? And each step that you go up to charcoal, you're getting more fuel efficiency. So it's worth it to almost always craft up and make the charcoal. So even though you're spending a little bit of fuel to cook the charcoal, you're still coming out ahead. And just to go through that, we can kind of talk about that. Let's see, where is it here? I don't see, okay. Maybe I have to look it up in the FNEI. Yeah, so here we go. Green algae, it doesn't say. Okay. But we can make this into cellulose fiber. Oh, yeah, okay, never mind. We had to make it into cellulose fiber for fuel anyways. So we have 1 megajoule per. So basically, with the cellulose fiber, we can make wood pellets. So we see here 12 gets turned into 16, right? And then we have 8, which is 64, into 72, right? And then we have 18 into 20, and it takes 3.5 seconds. And basically when you're doing your kilowatt calculations, right, we have megajoules into kilowatts. Essentially, this magnitude is way higher. So when we're looking at this, right, we said it's 18 into 20. So basically, if it takes less than 2 megawatts to cook, then we're fine. So we know that these consume 90 kilowatts. Over 3.5 seconds, that turns into, let's see here, 315 kilojoules, right, which is, nowhere close to 2 megajoules, which is how we kind of find out that basically each step of this process makes it more fuel efficient up to charcoal. So hopefully that helps illustrate why we want to basically be crafting down as much as we can in this situation. So first things first, just going to craft some algae farms here. I think 2 will be a good number to start with here. And we're going to look into a couple of things with this, right? So we know with 2 of these here, with a crafting speed of 0.75, right? So that means that we're going to get, we essentially do 1.5 crafts per second with that. So here we have something that takes up 80 mineralized water and 80 carbon dioxide every 15 seconds. So since we're making we're going at 1.5 times the speed collectively for both of those, that means we're making each of those, or we're getting 1 craft every 10 seconds, right? So that means we need 8 mineralized water and 8 carbon dioxide per second. Now, carbon dioxide is something that we're going to get from charcoal, but, we need charcoal to make carbon dioxide, but we need the carbon dioxide to make our charcoal kind of deal, right? So, essentially, we're going to have to do some crafting with the tier 1 recipe, and then switch to the tier 2 once we have enough charcoal to sustain us using the carbon dioxide craft. But once we do this once, we'll have enough forever. If that makes sense. But, yeah. If you guys remember, we're making mineralized water down here using the electrolyzers into here. So, if you give me just a brief moment, I'll come back and I'll have the math on everything we need to do planned out in our Helmod planner. Alrighty, I am back. So, basically, as we can see here, what I've done is essentially set our output quantity here to 1. However, you can see it's down to 0.9, and that's just because of the amount that it takes for us to actually feed the process, right? So, what this planner does is you can tweak the amount that you want here, and then you can see how many of each thing you'll need, right? So I'll need one furnace, five assembly machines, two of these algae farms, two liquefiers, a ore crusher, and then two electrolyzers. So I can make all of that stuff. What am I looking for? Here. Alrighty. And I think that was it. Let's see. Let's double check. Oh, and then the two algae farms, which I already have. So yeah, from there. Oh, well, I also need a water pump. That's my bad. Sorry. One of those. And I'll go through some of this random research that we have sooner to when I actually use it. However, right now, I'm not needing to, so I'm not going to go into it. Alrighty. So we're going to start planning this area out up here. Alright, so like I mentioned, we're going to start with one of these algae farms, and we're just going to be using the tier 1 recipe. And the reason we have to do that, like I said, is we need some amount of carbon dioxide to actually start the process. So we're going to need to make enough to have one carbon dioxide. So when we looked into it, we said it was... so we're going to go like that, sorry. We're going to need inserters. We need this whole area to be powered. But yeah, so we're going to be crafting into cellulose fiber, into wood pellets, into wood bricks, and then smelting that into charcoal. So let's get this whole chain going. There we go. And then what we're going to do is we'll just have to take out the green algae once we actually get the chance. Alright, this is going to take a while, so I think I will just pause and then come back to when we actually have charcoal in here and we're ready to do the rest of the process. Alrighty, I have resumed and we now have charcoal. So that means we are good to cut all of this off and start making the whole thing. So we are going to start out with our electrolyzers. Oh, I also need 2 more flare stacks, don't I? Yeah, to get rid of the gas. So, like I said, we're going to start off with our 2 electrolyzers here. Let's move this guy. Alrighty, so we will kick it off here. Get our water going there. And we are going to need this water for other functions. So I'm going to keep that ready. We are getting a little low on landfill, but I'm not too worried about it. Eventually, we will need to actually create something to start processing all of that. And actually creating landfill, but that is something we can get to later. Alright, so I'm just planning out our gas pipes here. So they're going to be along these. Alrighty, there we go. So now, we can remove that, remove that, remove that, remove that. Alright. Get that going. There we go. So we have our electrolyzer set up. Now we need to get our slag coming out. Alrighty. Here we go. Have that going. And that will go to our crusher. Yep. let's get power lines mocked up for all this. Alright, so there we go. And then this is going to go into our liquefier. First, let's run an underground water out to here. Power pipe, there we go. And then this will go to our liquefier. Which, let's get this going. Okay. So this liquefier will go here. We'll be making mineralized water. Actually, I think we just need 2 there. Okay. So now we're making mineralized water, which is going to be going to our algae plants. Go up there. Alright. We are going to have an algae plant here. And an algae plant here. Alrighty. So we are doing the tier 2 recipe. Let's get these flips like that. So we'll run our mineralized water here. Alrighty. Let's run some undergrounds. We're probably going to need to make more undergrounds, but that's, you know, achievable. Alrighty, let's get some inserters going here. Alright, let's make a couple of those. So we're going to want to connect that. Alright. So we want 2 assembly machines. Oh, can't fit that. Alright, let's see. Let's just bump that up a bit. Nope. Okay. Yeah, let's change how we're routing this thing. Let's just go like that. There we go. And, oh, still not enough. Dang. Okay. What we're gonna instead do then, pull this guy out there, this guy here. And, go like that with this. There we go. We're gonna need way more of these. Okay, I've made a mistake. I don't think I can actually power that, so I think we will have to redo this area here. That's alright. So essentially, we need to have, if I'm remembering correctly, yeah, 2, 2, 1. So if we go working backwards, we have 1, 2, 2, and then I guess we could. So this one's making bricks. These 2 are making pellets. Oh man, I think I just made this area too small. I'll have to just add a little up top here. Okay. So eventually we'll need to have a liquefier here that is just making carbon dioxide. So this is an eventuality. Let's start there. And then essentially we will have our furnace here. And ideally this is putting all of our charcoal onto a belt. So it would be nice if it would do that. So let's plan around that. So 1, 2, 3. Okay. So that would mean that we have room for a belt here. That would take it out of there, and then let's go there just in case. Okay. And then from here, we need to have an assembler go in there. And this one's job is to make wood bricks, and actually we want to lower that down one. This one's to make wood bricks. Alright, then we'll have one there and one there that are making the pellets. And we should be able to go like that. Alright, and then I guess we'll do a belt up here from the other two assemblers, which we can fit there and there, but we can't. So maybe we have to go there and there, which isn't bad, it's just not good. Alright, so we're gonna need to make more belts. Alright, let's actually see if, there we go. Yeah, if we do that, then we'll be balancing it out, and we'll have it on both sides, which would be nice. Okay. So now we need to run these up one more assembler. Alright. Okay, wait, without that, can I just, yeah, I can do that. Cool. Save ourselves a power bolt there. So these are going to be making cellulose fiber. Alright, and now to kick things off, we're just going to drop that in there, that in there. That in there, that in there, then that in there. Alright, and then we have this 55 brown algae that, for the time being, we don't need. Alright, we are low on electricity. That makes sense. So we're using all of this to make electricity and then not actually making it. So, from there, we are going to, okay, so we need crushed stone. So let's go get some of that. Let's get 10 is how much we needed. There we go. So we'll make one boiler and 2 steam engines. Okay, okay, I think I need to actually go there instead of there and there instead of there. If I'm trying to route this charcoal out, which I am. Oh no. Okay, I need more assemblers. Yeah, there we go. I was like, huh, I'm surprised it's not making anything. Okay, there we go. So now this should be making 1 charcoal a second. Let's actually do this differently. I can't, because of how puny these belts are. I can't even do that. Okay, so we're making charcoal. That's that's the important part of this. We can work on actually getting this charcoal, you know, somewhere important here soon. Okay. So if we want to use underground belts, we would need 1, and then we would get to here. From here, we could go there. We can move this power pole, that power pole. So let's do that. Oh, we don't even need that one. Oh, we do need it. So there we go. We move those. Oh, dang. And then this guy's in the way. So instead, how do we do this instead? Oh, we'd have to change a lot of stuff. That's so sad. Okay. Oh, we'll have to change a lot of stuff then. Alright, there we go. So now we should be able to get this charcoal out using underground belts. Alrighty, so our plan is to route it down here, jump there, come over here, jump there, and then we can make an area over here for boilers. Alrighty. There we go. Alright, bridging in to our first new area. Alright, well, I guess we're going down here for boilers. Yeah, we'll just go here. This is what happens when you don't plan out your landfill very well. I'm sure I wasted some there, and if I had, properly budgeted, I could have probably made this way more efficient. Okay, we're also going to need a water pump, so let's see that. Kind of leading into this, though, is next thing we need to work on is making landfill. Oh, yeah, duh. This is wood filled, so naturally, if it runs out of wood, it runs out of wood. Forgot about that. Let's put in some charcoal there. That'll get that going. But that is one of our next upgrades, is making all of those down there that are the crusher, what's it called? The crusher, ore crushers that are fueled into electric. Duh. Oh my gosh, words are hard for me today, apparently. Okay, so now you can see this one steam boiler and engine doubled the power. So basically, these three here are all of this. So let's see how many we can actually support. So 1.8 megawatts of max consumption. So essentially, one of these supports all of this, if I remember correctly. Sorry, our planner here. So yeah, we're making we're making 4 megajoules. So this is 1.8, so we are supporting about 2 of these, so we could add another one of these on. Yeah, we could add another one of these on. But first off, I want to go through, now that we have more electricity, I want to convert these into ore crushers that are electric. It's 1, 2, 3. Alright, 1, 2, 3. And then this will make it so we can basically only have to worry about wood for the furnaces for now. Okay, do that. Let's put in all of the byproducts that we lost there. Alrighty. This guy goes here. He's doing stereotype. Alright. This guy goes here and he's doing sapphire. Alright, there we go. So now we should be producing. Yeah, so see, in all that time that I was building, I only got that much because I had this huge backlog of fuel that I was missing. So we can now simplify this quite considerably. Oh, this one doesn't even have a fuel feeder. No wonder it's having an issue. It was out of fuel. Makes a lot of sense now. There we go. So we can just do that now. That is all set. So we'll now be producing more of that. But in the meantime, I do want to work on potentially getting this down there. So that looks like I'm going to need 1, 2, 3 more undergrounds. So let's get that set up. Let's get those. So we need crushed stone for that. I think we need 12 total. There we go. So yeah, 1, 2, 3. Another thing I do want eventually is to get another one of these set up. Because in theory we have the charcoal to support it. Oh, and I need more of these. Alrighty. There we go. No longer need that. Pop this wood into one of these furnaces, but now, in theory, should be good for a long time on this area and up here. So, we've started pretty much automating everything. I don't think there's any action right now that we need manual input for up until plates. So, once we have the plates, we still have some manual stuff to do. Obviously, I don't have research automated or anything like that. But we're off to a pretty good start on automating everything. So we have a blueprint for kind of our early game power up here. This is the sort of format it can follow. We have our early game materials down here. I will say the next thing we need to do is starting to make landfill. Where is that? So we can make landfill somewhere in here. Where's that recipe? I know there's a recipe for it. Maybe I have to research it. Oh, I have to research it. That's why. But yeah, so you can see we made it out of crushed stone and mud. So yeah, so that's the next thing. So let's get started on research for that. In fact, let's just pop a bunch of research right now. So let's make all of that. And then we should be able to get quite a few things researched. So I'm making 32 right now. That's 10. I think arboretums is a good start. That'll get us so that we can start making wood automatically, which we'll need for circuits. So yeah, let's do that. Military is not really needed. So kind of a nice thing about the ocean here is, you know, no biters. Further out there will be worms, but that's not something we really have to deal with right now. So other things that would be good, probably, okay, yeah. So this will be a really important one later. Do we need it for anything that we're doing now? Doesn't look like it. So I would say that I guess we do some quality of life things. Probably don't need to go to that yet. Let's just do this. So that'll be 30 total. And I think we already had like 8 in the thing, so we should be able to do another research that costs 10. Oh wait, no, I can't do math. 40 total, so I think we are at the limit. So yeah, let's let these craft up, and then we should be good to go. But yeah, so the next thing I'm going to be doing is tearing down some of those wind farm area. Not all of it, is I still need some of the power to start making these washing plants. And with these washing plants, you see we make these all the way up to sand, and what's it called? Each of these steps, we get mud. Or sorry, we can make these, but each of these steps here, which is what I actually care about, we can make mud, which is how we'll make our landfill. And then that in water at the end, we just get rid of it in the clarifier. So that's how we're going to get rid of a lot of waste products. In this is the clarifier and the flare stack. So you'll notice a theme of waste products. And I will say for now, while we're able to get rid of all of them, there's a lot of things in this mod pack that operate like this, right? Where, okay, you have a 50% chance of this, a 50% chance of this, sort of deal. Oops, okay, that's what I wonder why that was stopped up. Okay, but yeah, so if you have a percentage chance of this, and you're trying to automate things, you know, there's a chance that if you don't use the things in that specific ratio, then you can get a really bad backlog, so for a good part of the game, we'll have to worry a lot about basically what's called like balancing ratios. So we may end up with oh my gosh, my words. Too much copper, but because we're backed up on copper, we're not producing any more iron, right? So for example, if I didn't have these chests here, once this one filled up with iron, you know, or copper, the other one would fill up, or wouldn't fill up, because it would go through a backlog all the way back to here, and then we wouldn't be producing any more of the copper, even though that's what we need, because we have an overflow on iron. So it's just kind of a thing where you have to balance out your ratios pretty well. But yeah, that's a concern that we'll run into later, and then it'll go away, and then it'll come back, then it'll go away, sort of in a cycle, because I'll kind of just show you guys now. You end up with higher levels of these ore refiners. So you can see here, right, we can actually make these. So this is ore refining tier 1. And you can see you can actually make these in the tiers that you want, right? So then we go to ore refining 2, and wait, I'm missing something here. Did they change it? I don't think they changed it, so I must be missing something. But essentially, let's see here. Oh yeah, okay. So here we go. You can see with this, we're making, 2 iron, 1 copper. Here we're making 2 copper, 1 iron, 2 lead, 1 nickel, 2 tin, 1 silicone. So if we're not using up all of these things, right? For example, if I only want tin, I have to be using up my silicone at a similar rate, or at half the rate, in order for us to keep producing tin, or else our silicone will back up, and then we won't be able to. Oh man, sorry, super skipping over my words, but yeah, if our silicone backs up, then we won't be producing more tin. So there's a lot of things like that in this mod pack, but once you progress down the research, you get ways to produce those ores purely. So essentially for a while you have to worry about the ratios, and then after that it sort of just becomes less of an issue, because you'll be able to have individual recipes that produce only that one ore, not having multiple come out. Alright, let's get this research done. Yeah, I was waiting on the landfill research. I was waiting for a second. I'm like, wait, which research am I waiting on? But it was the landfill, which was the first one we finished. So, yeah, like I mentioned, we can make all of these different types of landfill. I just use sand because it's the one you start with, and it makes it, so your island looks consistent. So let's go through this chain here. We're going to need 1 here, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we need 5 of these washing plants, and we're going to need a clarifier, but we're also going to need a C4 pump and an offshore pump. So although we had all of that starting iron, we are now low on it, which is crazy. You kind of don't realize how much you're going through until you're through it. Okay, so yeah, there's another recipe. I was wondering when we were getting that one, but you can also make it with just crushed stone. However, the washing process is much better. So, I don't know if you guys saw this in the first step, but hydrogen sulfide gas is going to be extremely important. So, we are not going to vent that. I know we've vented like pretty much every other gas, but let's see, do we have storage tanks yet? No, we don't have gas storage tanks yet, so that's going to be unfortunate. Let's see, I don't know if we can. Fluid control. So yeah, here would give us some small tanks. So I think that is a priority for us to get to before we start doing our research stuff for that. So let's see. We'll need like quite a bit here. Yeah, see, now we're low on iron, which is ironic seeing as how much we started with, but we do need lots of iron. This is all iron stuff here, though. So let's put that in. Get us a little bit that we're not wasting. But, yeah, looking at the time, this will probably be a good place for me to end this one. Seeing as this is at an hour long already. So I'm gonna be wrapping this up, and then in the next episode we will be making landfill. So yeah, I will see you then. Thank you for watching.